So this is Crouch's Crypto Corner. We are here every Friday at 9:30. We talk everything crypto and focus on a couple of subjects. And we start with a market report with Patty Pierce, who's our guru. And so if you'll take it away, Patty, then we'll all take a break for coffee.
Okay. Gosh, the market has been horrible, horrible. And this morning it's even worse than yesterday. Okay,
It was
so
up yesterday.
no, the market sold off yesterday.
Oh, that must have been in the afternoon.
Okay.
Sorry.
Um, yeah. So these are numbers from pre-market, but the Dow was down 0.43% in the past 5 days. It's down another 0.76 this morning. Goodness. And it's about to go below 52,000. Um, I just can't believe it. Anyway, the S&P is down 0.77%. Pre-market, that was 59 points. The S&P is down another 100 points this morning. That's 1.34%. NASDAQ is pre-market was 1.12. It's down another 2.24 this morning, 576 points. And you add that with the other five, six, seven, it's down 800 points in 2 days. Oh God. And I did the math. That's like 1,900 points from its high. Russell is down 0.72. This morning it's down another 1.2%. So that is three, four, about 50 points. Goodness. Gold, terrible. Everything's terrible. Gold is pre-market was down 2.33%. That was $95 for just the past 5 days. Silver went below $50 at one point. It's 5.65%. When I looked last about 40 minutes ago, it was $55. That's terrible. It has been cut in half. Remember, it's high. It hit like 110, 120 in January. And gold is below 4,000. It's pre-market was 3,975. The 10-year is pretty much remaining steady, but its high on Monday was 4.62. So it's down a half a point this morning. The dollar is holding steady. It's down a little bit. Well, I didn't check since the market opened, but it's 100.85. That's down about 43 cents from last Friday. And WTI crude is the only thing that's up. $80.60 about an hour or so ago. But Monday, it was $72.70. So that's like $8 up for the week. I guess the big economic news was CPI came in great. It fell by 0.4%, which was the largest monthly decrease since April 2020. So that was good for the market. And annual inflation is about 3.5%. If you do the core CPI, which takes out the food and energy, it was flat, 0%, no change. And the CPI going down with to energy going down 9.7%, but I think that's been wiped out in the last 5 days. And food prices did rise 0.2%. What's happening with the market is Taiwan Semi reported Wednesday night blowout quarter. They beat Wall Street expectations in every single way. It was a record-breaking quarter for them. Their net profit was up 77.4%. In one quarter, they made $22 billion. The revenue was up 36% to $40.2 billion. It was all positive, but the Asian markets, I don't know if they decided it was too toppy, and they sold off, about 2:30 in the morning. And I understand that Taiwan also said no more leveraged ETFs. You know how you can buy the SOXL here that's leveraged for the SMH or the SOX. And so they must have put an end to that, and it scared people. And so it sold off. And so yesterday was a terrible day for the NASDAQ. And the SMH is what I follow. That's the semiconductor ETF. It was already down $100 pre-market, and this morning it looks like it's down another $25. So it's just getting crushed.
Mm.
I think that's it. That's basically the story of the market. I don't know if we're going to improve today. A miracle would have to happen, like, hey, the war's over. But it's pretty
Yeah.
grim. Yeah.
Quick
Wow.
question. You said SMH semiconductor. The price, current price around 537. I just wanted to confirm if I had the right, or we were looking at the same price.
Yes. Let me see. I'll refresh. 538.24.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
It hasn't curved up. It's down $31 at the moment. 31. It will try to recover. There's no change in the AI story and the need for memory chips. But some of these stocks, as of yesterday, were down like $400. This morning, I haven't checked Micron. It was down $400. SanDisk was down more than $400. So uh, I'll just check what Micron is. But that's just an example of the estimate for what the stock could be with $1,500. It went to 1,200 and some change, and then in 2 weeks it dropped down to 847. So let me just see what Micron is. So the story hasn't changed. It's just people are taking profits or they're scared. Oh my goodness, it's down to 806 this morning. 47, $48. Anyway, I guess if you want to
Wow.
buy Micron, it's a bargain today. Western Digital, SanDisk, Marvell went below $200. So if you believe in the story, and we're at the first innings of this AI revolution, and that's what the astrology is, I guess it's a buying opportunity, but it's painful at the moment. Mm.
It
Also,
is.
you're getting your current stats from what source?
Internet. For all of these things, I type in price of gold futures, Dow.
Okay.
Yeah,
All Google.
I just, and it brings up the actual index, and you can look at it 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, a month, year to date, maximum.
Got it.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, let's hope for some resolution to the war. Oh my goodness, the Nasdaq's down 2.42%. Mm,
Thanks, Patty.
yeah. All right. That news.
Let's go to the weekend and just get out of here. Okay. So on crypto, Aaron's not going to be with us this morning, so I just thought a little bit that I've watched the crypto market. To me, it's still flat, though. Bitcoin, I believe, was above 60,000. I think I saw it at 64. I don't even know what it is right now if somebody wants to look, but
It's around 62.
okay. And then XRP is floating around $1.10 somewhere in there, and Ethereum's, right at the $3,000 level. So
Dollar
just
07.
flat,
XR,
flat, flat, and it's been that way. And I think
XRP dollar oh six. I'm
say
sorry, go ahead.
again,
XRP dollar oh six.
$1.06, yeah. Well, that's okay. And then the there's some movement. I don't know about this Clarity Act. I'm just really because that to me is what is the hold up, what everybody's waiting on for anything to happen in crypto is the Clarity Act. So um, we'll see
Well,
how that goes.
President Trump did say that
Mm.
he made some kind of announcement. I don't know if it was a tweet, but every day I'm Googling, has the Clarity Act been scheduled? And on the 14th, which was Tuesday, he said he wanted it done in the Senate before the August 7th recess. So that gave a boost to Bitcoin and all crypto that one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Bitcoin went up to 64.5 or 64.7, which is
And
giving it back.
and it went up too with some announcement of movement towards a um, sovereign wealth fund for the United States with Bitcoin in it from seized assets, not from buying it at this point. But
Mhm.
anyway, so little action there. Um, Remind me of the name of the new Fed chair. Um,
Kevin Warsh.
Warsh. Okay. Um,
Yeah, he's
okay.
a real
Just
downer this week. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. He spoke to the House and Senate on Tuesday and Wednesday and dampened the market. Yeah, he's a real Debbie Downer.
okay. So a couple of things that struck me was a new. It's not new, but it's called Mantle, and they support tokenized real world assets. I'm just reading this on Coin Bureau in terms of what they've done. Anybody ever heard of Mantle?
No,
Well, let me just read just a little bit. So Mantle is building an infrastructure for RWAs. Mantle tokenized the largest IPO in history on day one, and within months scaled to 155 tokenized equities that are trading 24/7. Symbols MNT, it's only about 50 cents, cemented its positions as the center of the crypto's RWA revolution. And so what they've done is, while most chains approach real world assets by focusing on issuance, Mantle focuses on distribution. They've transformed itself to a high performance Ethereum layer 2 full stack financial network built around tokenized assets. Instead of simply bringing stocks and funds on chain, the system assembles every component an institution needs, such as liquidity, deep liquidity, or compliant issuance, seamless exchange access, yield infrastructure, and 24/7 trading. So, um, anyway, I just kind of found that fascinating. And it just, to me, uh, says that this whole ecosystem is moving so fast and so quickly. And I think just a couple of sessions ago, we talked about within companies that are starting out, maybe with like 10 or less people, going to $1 billion company in 2 years. Just astounding what's going on in this whole space. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Anybody want to weigh in on that or want to check it out? Please do. MNT is a symbol on CoinGecko or wherever you find your coins.
well, that is the future, and that's what the astrology is supporting now. That these big corporations are not going to be the winners. It's going to be individuals like you and me and everybody on the call. If you initiate some kind of business on your own, you have 20 years to really go be successful. I
That's
won't go into
nothing.
all the planetary alignments, but you have the support now. It's all about individuals taking over decentralization. Yeah, so go for it.
I done went for
Yay, Patty.
it.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's true. Yeah, well, it's about getting away from the government structure, from the top down approach. You know, like that's Capricorn. Now we're in Gemini and Aquarius, and it's all about freedom. So, what you considered a hobby before, if you're really good at it and you're like, wow, I can make this into a business, that is your formula for success. You can do it.
Boy, that just goes against the grain of what they teach and how to start a business. It's
Well,
just you've got to do the research and you have to, I'm telling you, it's incredible.
the world is changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was last night. This has been a crazy month. So if you feel kind of wacky and you're like, I can't figure out why I feel so strange, it's these large planets getting in a triangle, and it's helping boost you up. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I don't know what you just said, Patty, but thank you. So, but that brings me to the point of an interview that Brett Baer had with David Solomon, who is the CEO of Goldman Sachs. And they sat down for about 9 or 10 minutes. It's on Instagram if you are hip enough to have an Instagram account, which I'm not. But anyway, but it's on Instagram, but I was able to view it, and I just want to give you a couple of takeaways from it. So it was I asked about Kevin Walsh because that was the preview preliminary video they showed in the interview was Walsh talking about
Porsche.
the Walsh talking about the state of the economy, and he was saying it was Solomon says he thinks it's in pretty good shape. There is a lot of change going on. He's a huge optimist for the U.S. economy with a view down the road of 3 to 5 years. He said, let's see, he talked about tech. And he got into AI a little bit. And the reason he got into that was that Brett said, don't you think there's a large separation between mainstream and corporate because they seem to be doing great and mainstream seems to not be able to carry on or follow that trend as well. They seem to be stuck. And they got into a couple of evolving issues about that, but those are political. So I'm not going to get into that right this minute. But he did talk about capital enterprises having large dollars versus what mainstream has, which is just sort of stagnant. But anyway, he went on with the man, I got to put some glasses on. Uh, he got into tech and entrepreneurship availability, and that AI is going to grow the US and it's going to offer so many opportunities. And we talk about, yeah, taking away jobs. I understand that. And replacing jobs with AI agents or with robots. But he believes that this also opens up a different opportunity that's evolving, and that we'll see a huge amount of innovation and creativity in America, where we have free enterprise and or at least some free enterprise. But anyway, and then they got into the data center moratoriums. He believes that the messaging from corporate and from politicians is not specific enough to for people to understand that are data center scared, and there are a lot of people out there who are data center scared, but they um, that they need to get to the media and get people to understand how impactful data centers are. And Dennis just did a piece, and I don't think Dennis is on with us, but he just did a piece that he
Yeah,
posted
he's
on
here.
Facebook.
He's
Okay.
here.
And then on Facebook, and it talks about the blend between the rural areas and technology and how they all can work together and be beneficial to each other. So anyway, so the net and but Solomon did say that the attitude is starting to shift a little bit, but they just need to get more information out there because New York just put a moratorium on data center building, and they're scared that other states will take up that same message. So anyway, that was kind of
Reno,
interesting.
Nevada, excuse me, Reno, Nevada has also put a moratorium. The guy I enjoy listening to about stock market stuff, he lives
Uh-huh.
there. And he thought he was the first community. So New York is the second one.
Now, this
That,
is the state, and then Reno, of course, being a community or a city.
correct. Yeah. But he said they have tons of data centers over there, and the community just said enough, enough.
Well, okay, but
And that's a different situation. You know,
They're
is that
concerned about
we're
water.
talking about the urban area. Yeah, well, and that's certainly a real issue out there. But if they've got a large concentration, then even the data center developers are probably looking to go further out, which in that environment may work, may not. Most of the water from Nevada comes from California. How that's managed really is just how do they manage all the water necessary for the Bellagio? I have no idea. So, um, but to your point, George, the Carbon Country project really is a very innovative project, and it's already engaged some activity on Facebook. That social media post got Danny Ford Jr.'s attention. So I've been able to engage in a little conversation with him.
Danny
And I think,
Ford is
that's
the
just an example of how you ran for Agricultural Commission,
yeah,
in the
the state of South
primary.
Carolina. Yeah.
And so so much of this really is just establishing, how do you create new revenue streams, and take advantage of the technology. And I mean, this is, just noting what you were reading from earlier. If you remember a year ago, Esther was talking about how we would have a Main Street renaissance, and this was not going to be a Wall Street rally, but a Main Street rally. And you know, frankly, with all of the focus on data centers in these rural areas, I mean, I think this is what they foresaw was the economic development opportunity that would bring in tons of money, and it does. So, I think we're really just at the beginning of turning the narrative, but there are, beginning to be, feeds within, a lot of the groups that I monitor, that, are proponents. And, you know, so I think it's important to support that,
Yeah.
and I mean, I've got some of these folks that have been trolling me now, and it really is. I've gotten to the point where I'm just not going to reply to some of them, pure and simple. So, but yeah, but in the chat, I posted, one of the latest graphics we came up with, the 5-layer cake, and this is actually a little rendition on Jensen Lang's 5-layer cake, which is more of a tech stack. This is, was actually put together as an interpretation, while I'm sitting there talking to my cousin at our niece's rehearsal party about AI, and he, just started relating what he had heard and understood. I said, "Hold on a minute, let me just get the phone out." We we started that conversation, and I let him just go for it, and and
Yeah.
then we created a prompt off of that, and boom, we had I think a very effective graphic. So, and this is one of this will be one of the 20 infographics that we have right now in the resource library. So I
Right.
really hope everybody will start using it, look at it, share it. I mean, I think this is the type of thing that makes it easy to respond. So anyway,
Well, see, and the
I'll
great
stop
thing
there.
is, Dennis, you are being part of the conversation. You are engaging and giving us a different perspective of what this whole data center issue is about. And that's what I think he was talking about in the interview. And
Yeah,
so it is well received from us. And thank you for doing that because it takes a lot of work. But real quickly, let me just finish up with the Solomon interview and just tell you that they talked about the Trump um, account or the Trump savings account for the children, um, that $1,000 goes into their account to get them started. And he was so supportive of that. He said, because now we have an opportunity for kids to actually have a stake in the game. And what they can do with this is of course, family, friends, whatever can contribute to the fund as well. But by the time they're like 18 and 21, they've got an amazing account if they don't if they continue building it. And he talked about the compound of interest phenomena that most kids don't have any clue of. But the great thing about this account is that they're able to track it and see it grow on a day-to-day basis if they want to. And so he was very supportive of that. And then he said, and we are promoting this inside the company, and they are supporting it with money for the account. I guess an additional $1,000. I don't know what it was, but anyway, it was a great benefit that he found inside of his company to be able to support his family, so to speak. And so anyway, sort of wrapped it up at that, but that was kind of fun. And it's on Instagram, and you're welcome to take a shot at it. But anyway,
If you're looking into those, a couple of my grandchildren fall within the age range to get the free 1,000 So you can sign them up now, but they aren't taking signups for children who are outside of that age range right now because they're overwhelmed.
It's
And
1.5 million signed up already for the Trump
yeah.
account. And Les, d- what's the difference between that age range of 2025 to 2028 and outside of that? Is that they can all set up accounts
Well, children can set up accounts if they're outside that age range, but they only get the free $1,000 if they're in the age range.
in that age
So,
range?
so, so, my daughter has two sons, and the youngest one is in the age range, and the oldest one is slightly outside the age range. So we've already set up an account for the younger one, and as soon as things switch over, we'll set up one for the older one.
Got it. Okay, so anyway, that's interesting. I'll have
Hey,
to see.
George,
Yeah,
could I, Jim, this is not a miracle. This is kind of called the time value of money. And, anybody can kind of do this. I love these Trump things. I love the 509s. But you know what? Anybody can start putting a little money away over time. Look at some of the big stocks. It's incredible what has happened over time. Then you learn how to diversify and you get
yeah.
two stocks, and then you leave it the damn alone. But you know what's gonna, we're all gonna do this shit. And these kids are going to take it out and buy a damn car at 18. But that's all great. I mean,
That's all right.
look, saving
They're
is
buying it
better.
with cash.
Saving is better than not saving. You've just got to learn how to leave it alone, and people just don't do that. It's human nature. So I hope we keep doing it. Maybe we'll have more people with wealth instead of this issue of the great wealth divide. All right, sorry, had to throw that in.
No, it's great. But you do understand, but young kids don't understand the value of compounding. So, but
The adult, half of adults don't understand it.
that's right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Come on now, half of adults don't have any money. All right.
And the other, never mind. And then,
If I could just jump in to add what Jim said, and I'm sorry, I had to step away for a moment, so maybe I missed part of it, but you said it's the great distribution of wealth. Yes, I agree, but it's a redistribution of wealth because it's coming from our pockets as taxpayers.
Yes, I
right.
agree. Mm.
But I think the idea that I like about it is that they are able to track it and they can see it and see it grow. And anyway, so that was sort of the end of the interview. And anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. And so we're at the 10 o'clock hour. Why don't we just take a few minutes here and let's talk about stable coins. Let me just throw this chart up if I can get it shown. Let me see. I think. Come on, George. You know how to do this. Let me see. There we go. So let's see if you can see this. You should be able to see it now. Are we there?
Yes.
Okay.
We're there.
So I wanted to, so we've talked about stable coins and how they're set up, and we know some of some of the early ones. But I wanted to just give you sort of a real quick recap of some that are evolving and what they're all about, and sort of give you a little bit more information about it. I'm going to kind of read this a little bit. I'm going to turn this camera off. I think. See if I can do that. Yeah. But anyway. And the reason I did with it because of the last one, that was what kind of got my attention. So we're going to go down and see how they started out, and then what the last one does, which I believe is the next evolution of this whole stablecoin issue. So um, the stablecoin we know, let me just is a digital currency pegged to a stable asset. That is the US dollar. And that is the guidelines created in the Genius Act. And to comply with US law, you have that's the way it's set up. That doesn't mean that Japan has to create a stable coin backed by US dollars. But if you're going to trade in the United States as a stable coin, that's kind of the setup. So one token is always worth $1. You get speed and programmability of crypto and some price stability with traditional currency backed by traditional currency. And of course, we've joked a little bit, but the reason that stable coins were created was because nobody was buying the treasuries of the United States. So somebody had to. So let's create a stable coin and back it with our US treasuries. And that way people start buying our treasuries. So we use them for payments, for cross-border transfer, for DeFi, and a parking spot for people who don't like the volatility of crypto. So the establishment ones are the first one, which is Tether, which was founded in 2014. It is a centralized uh, stable coin. It is also the number one stable coin by market cap, $120 billion operation market cap. It's on the blockchains that it operates on: Ethereum, Tron, Solana, Avalanche, and a number of other ones. 80% treasury bills, cash, etc. The Tron blockchain is used for emerging markets, and the Ethereum blockchain, they use it for DeFi. So it's the largest stable coin in the world, and daily volume sometimes exceeds Bitcoin volume. Dominant in the emerging markets, Latin America, Southeast Asia, Africa, where those currencies in those countries are very volatile, very inflationary. So they trade mostly in Tether, in and almost everybody has a phone, so they have access 24/7 to be able to do transactions. Um, and of course, we know there was some controversy over how transparent they were. They also settled a suit with the CFTC and the New York AG's office in 2021. But here's the kicker. They do not pay interest to the holders, which is kind of what the big banks have been wanting in the Clarity Act: no yield or no interest paid to the holders. But, and Tether fits that bill, but they keep the treasury yield to themselves, and that's billions of dollars a year. So it's incredible. So that was one of the establishment. The other one is Circle USDC. It's centralized. It's number two by market cap, 43 to about 45 billion cash and short-term treasuries. You see that on the chart. Everybody sees the chart, right? I'll try not to go down too much. But anyway, Ethereum and Solana, a couple of highlights: considered regulated as opposed to Tether. But Tether, we know, has created a US Tether that is going to be regulated. So anyway, but it is regulated, and so it's a little more safe for people to utilize. It can and does, Circle can and does freeze wallets to comply with government issued orders. So I guess that's the best way to put it. It's a preferred DeFi protocol and institutional players who need some regulatory clarity.
Hey, George, why is everything in the blockchain column related to Ethereum except the very last one, and nothing says blockchain? I mean, nothing says Bitcoin.
They don't.
Is there a logic to that?
The tech limitation.
Yeah.
It's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bitcoin was only designed to actually try to emulate currency, which it doesn't really do at all. But it tries. Ethereum is a much more broad technology that, it's based on a different thesis,
It's a
right?
different
Proof of work
technology.
versus proof of stake. Plus, it's got facilities in it that allows it to be used in other ways, like tokenization. You can't really tokenize anything with Bitcoin,
Right.
right? You could do it with a contract, but you can't tie a Bitcoin and say like this is the address of the house that this Bitcoin represents. You can do that with Ethereum.
Okay, thanks.
And Solana and others. And also the speed. The speed is a big point that is brought up by a number of different advocates for like oh great. Hang on a second. I'm losing a little bit of power here. So
Well, that's the only
so
that's the only reason to do any of this tokenization is speed of transfer.
all right, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I apologize. But gonna lose power here. This whole call will come to a quick stop. Hard stop.
Just keep talking.
Yeah. Having alone. All
Well,
right.
while you're doing that, I can say that the market is recovering.
Yeah.
So the Dow Jones is in the positive, up 21 points, 0.04. The Nasdaq gained an entire point, so it's only down 1.24. S&P down 0.5%. Russell's in the positive 0.1. So, and Bitcoin shot up in the air, and it's still going up, 63,361. Yay!
Thank you. Okay, so I'm back. And let's see, I just want to, the next one is Ondo. But let me just do real quickly a little comparison between centralized and decentralized, or the pluses and the minuses of centralization. So centralized creates a legal entity to contact if something goes wrong, and some people have to have that security. So I understand that. It can, though, freeze and recover stolen funds. It is compliant with KYC and AML regulations. Reserves are held at regulated U.S. financial institutions, and regulatory backstop possible in systemic risk scenarios. And customer service actually does exist on your more centralized exchanges or centralized stablecoins. The downside is that they can freeze your wallet with no warning and no appeal. Every transaction is visible on the blockchain, so it's really not that private. A subpoena or court order can compel the identity of the user. A centralized server, so one point of failure, and your keys really are not your key and not your crypto doesn't really apply here completely. So, and the government can compel freezes as it happened in the Canadian truckers' donations issue back during COVID. We always use that as an example of how your money is really not your money unless you
Terrible.
play by the rules. Okay, so then the next one is Ondo, and that is centralized. It's yield bearing 5% yield, which is different than what, anyway, I'll get to that in a second. It's on Ethereum, backed by US Treasuries. It's really, really impactful in the real world assets wave and putting traditional finance on chain. The token gives holders say over the protocol direction. And the difference is between this Ondo and USDT and USDC is that there is I'm going to say quote unquote yield. But basically what the yield is that they return the yield that they get off the treasuries back to the holders of Ondo. Or so just thought I'd throw that out there. Then the next one is very private, very centralized, and that's the JP Morgan. Typically, that's not available to us. I think what it is, it's just that JP Morgan allows this to operate in the space mainly for their large customers, be able to transmit and do work on chain in a fast manner. And we talked about Ondo and JP Morgan and MasterCard and all those being together. So in that trade that Ripple did a couple of months ago. Ripple is the RLUSD. It is centralized. It's backed by deposits in U.S. Treasury, and it's utilized a lot for cross-border payments. And let's see what else I got here. It main target is banks and payment providers doing international wire transfer. So it is a Swift competitor. And I think that Swift is getting several competitors. And then there are the international ones, which are all right, somebody take a shot at Societe General. Say that for me in French with a French accent. Societe Generale.
Societe Generale.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Perfect, Reba. Oh my gosh.
I can get it in South Carolinian, but I can't get it in French. So, so those are there's several of those. There's one let's see, one out of Japan. This one's interesting. It's called Mbridge. It's not on this list. The two are there, but it's not on the list. But it's a custom Mbridge DLT, and it's important because it's designed to bypass SWIFT for large sovereign transfers. It's called Mbridge. It's China, UAE, Thailand, Hong Kong, central banks are involved in that one. So then that brings me down to the last one. And so this is brand new. It is not even launched yet. It's called OpenUSD. It was announced on the 30th of June. And it is a consortium governed. So it is made up, it was announced in June the 30th that Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Stripe, BlackRock, Coinbase, Google, BNY Mellon, Ripple, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 130 companies unveiled this open USD stablecoin
What's it called?
OUSD.
Oh, OUST.
Yeah. So
Open USD, not to be confused with Origin Dollar. That's
that's
an
right.
older
That's
model.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be careful when you look it up. That's right. So anyway, it it does I guess what it says is that they're getting away from one centralized entity and bringing in this consortium idea. Let me just they're that it makes them more accountable and less captured than a single user like Circle. They chose Solana because of its speed of transaction and the fact that the transaction fee is less than a cent, sub-cent transaction fee. So it's not live yet. I think it's the fall, September, maybe October, that'll come online. And I see I just see it as one way that we're moving away from more, not centralized, but moving away from one entity having a stable coin to a consortium of large users that can deploy this stable coin in their portfolio of
So can you give
And
an example, George, of like, would
no.
people like us use it, or is it businesses that are going to do it for transactions?
Hey, George,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
understanding, I'm coming at this from a Ripple perspective. My understanding of what Ripple's doing is part of their goal. They would integrate
right.
that token into their ledger, their XRPL, and it would
Yeah.
be used, I think, Patty, that was speaking, it would be used for institutional payments. That's from Ripple's point of view. Now, I would assume Visa, these other partners would probably be looking at business to business payment platform versus like a retail. Like you and I would
Yes.
not be using that.
You go to Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
And yesterday, actually, Visa announced exactly that. So they have now announced that they're going to make this available through their stablecoin platform. So they have a network that they deal with, of course, in like 15,000 financial institutions
Yep.
and hundreds of millions of merchants. So they're already handling stablecoins and settlements for stablecoins, but now they're going to use OUSD to pull all the services together and to use that network of financial institutions and merchants who already are on their system.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I
And
posted the link to the announcement that they
Thank
made.
you.
and
You're
so the
welcome.
OUSD is also outside of the SWIFT system. Has nothing to do with the SWIFT
I would
system. And
say
the only reason
yes.
I'm asking is because
Yeah,
that's how they impose sanctions on China and Russia and whomever. So if you're
yeah,
outside of the SWIFT system, there's no threat.
right.
Yeah.
In fact, they're all part of, I mean, it's part of the ACH network, effectively.
Huh.
Okay, so that sort of is the recap that I wanted to get down to that last one, which I think is one of the fascinating ones. So we'll see how that evolves. But maybe if we're lucky, next week we'll get Kyle from Anchorage Digital Bank to join us because they are um, those might be great questions for him. But Anchorage Digital is a platform. They have a platform that assists stablecoin developers to launch their token. So that's one of their things. So they're pretty much into it, a lot deeper than this conversation on this call today. But if we get lucky, maybe Kyle will join us. We can kind of finish out this conversation next week, and then a little bit of break in the 1st of August, and then get back at it a little later. But we'll share that all next week. So why don't we just, it's 10:24. Anybody else got anything? Let's
Well, just thinking ahead, George, I don't know how you find so many great people to join the call, as guests and
thank you.
stuff. But it would be interesting to hear from a business who is actually using this for transactions to say, hey, I had to pay somebody in the Caribbean or somewhere in Europe or Asia. And this is why it's better to do this than to pay in dollars. Ease of transaction, cost less, um, swiftness, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Somebody who's actually using it.
sounds good. Man.
And the other thing, it sounds like that's creating a whole new set of jobs because somebody who works for Visa has to go out to these businesses and said, "Hey, I need to explain this new system to you
Mhm.
that would be available to you whenever." And yeah, so that's it's an example of new creation of jobs.
And just as a final thought, I've been doing this thing for a while, and I'm also involved with the tech startup community, and I'm like, how can we integrate this technology, tokenization or whatever, to a startup? And I ain't quite figured it out yet, but always on my mind when they because they're all screaming about needing money, and it's kind of interesting. But anyway, I'm ready to wrap up. It's 10:25, and if anybody else has anything, shout now, or let's just say we'll see you next week.
Real quickly,
Yeah,
real quickly, Patty, to your point. Obviously, if Heather comes with us to Charlotte, like we're expected to do, then
And
and stablecoin become the law of the land, we have a compliant industry that needs to be built. It can happen right over. That's really what we're working on right now. Yeah, jobs are a deal.
okay. Well, I'll take that. Let's see if we can approach someone who's actually using stable coins and find
Yeah.
out what's going on with that.
You
Maybe
want to
even
talk to the founders at Cyclops, I can connect you to them.
Oh, good.
right. Excellent. All right, everybody, let's get out of here and have a good weekend. And hopefully we'll be back again next
Thank
week.
you, George.
All right. Thanks, George.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye
George.
now.